Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. Today I have a book haul for you. And it's a lot of books. Sometimes sometimes things just happen and the world is in a panda express and you take it out on your wallet, whether it likes it or not. So we're gonna go through all these books and talk about them. I guess we'll just get, I don't even, I'm feeling a little bit embarrassed that I bought so many books in the last 2 months. But like I said, we're in a world panini and this is apparently how I have been dealing with it from the beginning, let's be honest. So I'm just gonna show you what I bought in no particular order because I just like pulled them off, and the ones that were on my bookshelf, and then I just had a giant stack of books on my floor for a couple days. So at some point I'm gonna have to fit all this into there, but for now I've got Reaper of Souls by Rena Barron. This is the sequel to Kingdom of Souls, which came out back in 2019, I believe. And it was my favorite book of the year. I just recently reread it so that I could jump into this one. And it's just okay so far. This one's told in like a dual point of view narrative style, which is not my favorite. And I actually kind of hate when a first book is one point of view and then a second book is multiple points of view. It's kind of a pet peeve of mine. I don't like it, which means that I'm not super loving this so far. It's not really, hasn't grabbed my attention yet. The next book I've got here is The Removed by Brandon Hobson. This is the March pick for Roxane Gay's Audacious Book Club. This is the story of a family, an Indigenous family, who many years later is dealing with the aftermath of their son being shot and killed by a police officer. I've kind of gotten into that, not quite yet, but it's pretty short, so I'll probably finish reading that soon. The next book I picked up is Gutter Child by Jill Richardson. This is what I believe is like a dystopian type of like slave narrative, if that's the proper word to use. Touches on Indigenous relations as well as Black relations in North America. So I'm very intrigued about this, and I've heard really, really good things about it. So I picked that one up. The next two I picked up from Book Depository, and that is No Big Deal and Melt My Heart by Bethany Rudder. I can't remember who I heard about these from, and if I do remember, I will leave their channel link down below. But these intrigued me because they're romances, one about a plus-sized girl and one also about a plus-sized girl but is a lesbian romance. And I've been looking for more books like these. I've heard that they're adult romance. I've also heard that they're young adult romance, so I'm not too sure what I'm getting myself into with these. This one I have read. This is Shut Up You're Pretty by Tia Hutanji, and I gave this 4 out of 5 stars, I think. This takes place in Scarborough. Scarborough is kind of a GTA suburb. It's about a girl and her family who immigrate to Canada and how their lives change when they immigrate to Canada. Short stories, but it's like little vignettes of the same character. How she becomes involved with sex work, the intergenerational trauma that can go on even after a family quote unquote like finds a safe haven in another country. Very, very good. Really loved it. Highly recommend. Next one I've also read is Act Your Age, Eve Brown by Talia Hibbert. This is the 3rd book in the Brown Sisters romance trilogy, and I liked it a lot. I give it a 4 out of 5 stars. You'll hear more about it in my next wrap up, but I basically binge read this series, and then when I finished Take a Hint, Dani Brown, I realized that this came out like a month later. I read it basically the day that I bought it because I was kind of in a reading slump. I was looking for something fun to read, and this totally hit the spot. This one I've heard really fantastic things about, and it wasn't something that I was looking to pick up, and then someone recommended it based on like, it's like Shadow and Bone, but what Alina in the Darkling should have been, or like just, I've heard like the romance part of this is really good. So I got Legendborn by Tracy Dion. I have literally no idea what this is about, except maybe there's like a dark romance involved, in which case, sign me up. I feel like this is totally up my alley and I need to read this soon. But like I said, I kind of went a little crazy with book buying, so a lot of these, who knows when I'm gonna read them, because there's so many of them. Next one I picked up on the recommendation of a coworker, and it's also all over the bookternet. Firekeeper's Daughter by Angeline Boulay, probably. This I know is a new Indigenous YA fantasy. There are not enough Indigenous authors there, so this is definitely one that I'd like to read. And I've actually read a couple of Reese's book club picks, whether YA or adult, and I've actually loved the ones that I've picked, so hopefully this one doesn't let me down. And a coworker that I have a pretty similar book taste to really liked this one, so I'm expecting to really like it as well. This one is one that I kind of picked up on a whim. It is Ties That Tether by Jane Igaro. And this is a adult romance about a Black woman who falls in love with a white man and how that dynamic works. You know, when I look at it, I'm like, why did I buy this? So I bought the sequel to, I can't even remember what the first book is called, but this is Ruthless Gods by Emily A. Duncan. I think the first book is called Wicked Saints. It's one that I really enjoyed, but I read it as an ARC a really long time ago. Again, it was like a dark romance, YA fantasy kind of vibe, which I'm down for. So it is one that I'd really like to reread at some point, and in which case I might want to read the sequel, so I just kind of picked it up. This book is huge though, and I also hate the spines of these books. Like, why would you put a face on? I don't like it. It's a little creepy. Next, I picked up a newer release. This is In the Quick by Kate Hope Day. All I know about this is that it's like a sci-fi space lesbian book. So that's all I need to know. Sign me up. I bought it. Next, of course, I have Return of the Trickster by Eden Robinson. I recently reread and then finally read for the first time Son of a Trickster and Trickster Drift. So this is I believe this is the last book. I think it's just a trilogy, and I am so looking forward to reading this. I might have to read this next. My TBR is not going any way that it was supposed to this month, so I'm at the point where I'm just like reading whatever the fuck I want, and I think I might have to read this next, because every time I think about the ending of Trickster Drift, I'm like, oh my god, I need to know. Then I picked up, you'll find out in my wrap up, but I was in the mood and I reread A Court of Thorns and Roses. I reread the whole series for the first time, back to back to back. Usually when I'm in the mood, I just reread A Court of Mist and Fury because it remains the best book of the series. Sometimes you just need like a comfort read, and that is a comfort read to me. It is certainly not perfect, especially rereading it. I had to do it. I had to pick up A Court of Silver Flames. This thing is a chunk of a book. It is huge. Also, I can't help it. I'm so excited to read this. Next book I picked up is A Dark and Hollow Star by Ashley Shuttleworth, who is a Canadian author, and I picked this up because my friend Aislinn let me know that it's a fae book that I didn't know about, and I will latch on to any fae book that I could get my hands on. This one concerns me a little bit because it also takes place in like present day Toronto, and I'm not sure exactly how I feel about that, but I did like Holly Black's Ironside series, the Modern Fairy Tales series, and that at the time took place in present day New York as well. So I don't know, we'll see how this one goes. It's also like very chunky. I don't know what I'm gonna do with all these huge books, but here we are. The next one I picked up kind of on a whim. I'm not sure that it's a book that I'm going to like, but everyone seems to love it, so I bought it. I bought it with a gift card. I think I recall buying it with a gift card. I bought The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. which you probably already know what this is about. It's like a girl dies and then finds herself in like a library where she can like go back and see what her life would have been if she made a different choice about something or if she did something differently, which very much intrigues me. As someone with far too many hobbies, I blame the ADHD. I think of a lot of different ways my life could have gone if I had stuck to something maybe a little bit harder or didn't do something. So this plot definitely intrigues me, and a lot of people love this book, so I figure I gotta give it a shot. We're getting down to the last few books here. Next book I picked up is one I meant to pick up last year and didn't get the chance to, Black Sun by Rebecca Roanhorse. Again, I have no fucking clue what this is about. Let's find out together. A god will return when the earth and sky converge under the black sun. Oh, it's a gods-based book one of the Between the Earth and Sky trilogy, inspired by the civilizations of the pre-Columbian Americas and woven into a tale of celestial prophecies, political intrigue, and forbidden magic. Oh, I'm gonna love this. I'm so glad. Good job, Past Emily. What a great choice. And then I also picked up Remote Control by Nnedi Okorafor, who wrote the Binti series, which I felt okay about, but this is like the daughter of death, which like, and also sci-fi. So like, fuck yeah. This one's a new release. This is The Unbroken by C.L. Clarke. Again, don't know much about it, but Hannah over at the Story Nut, I believe, posted it on her Instagram stories or Twitter possibly, and was really, really excited about it. And I know that Hannah really loves N.K. Jemisin, as do I. So I was like, maybe I should read that. So I just bought it. An unmissable epic fantasy debut of uprising, espionage, and empire. Ooh, we love an alliteration. And I believe this is written by a Black woman, which we love. Black women writing fantasy. Give it to me. Last couple books, I picked up The Body Is Not an Apology, the new second edition by Sonia Renee Taylor. I've heard really, really good things about the first edition, and then the second edition just recently came out in February. So I figure it's time to pick it up. It's a body positive, self-love, radicalization of your physical body as an act of rebellion. The bookstore I work at, we actually keep this in the self-help section, which I think is kind of interesting because I feel like it's a bit more of a, maybe it is self-help. Maybe the author would consider it self-help. Next I have Whites on Race and Other Falsehoods by Otega Uwagba. It's a reflection on the aftermath of the murder of George Floyd. So I have that. And the last book is something many people may not be interested in, but I bought The Monsters Know What They're Doing, Combat Tactics for Dungeon Masters by Keith Amen, and I'm very much looking forward to reading this and making some notes. If you follow me on Twitter, you know I love me some D&D. I'm a Dungeon Master currently, and I love it so very much. Yeah, I'm also hoping to do maybe some more content in the future on Dungeons & Dragons. So I really don't want to lift all these books, mostly because I'm sitting on the floor, and sitting on the floor makes my back hurt. But we can certainly do our best. So, oh no, that's my book haul. I bought far too many books, but stay tuned, subscribe if you want to see what my thoughts will be when I do eventually read some and or all of these books. And let me know, have you read these books? Is there something that I maybe shouldn't have bought? Maybe something that you read and you didn't really like, and maybe I wasted my money. That's all I have for you today. So I will see you guys in the next one. Bye. Oh God. What am I gonna do with these? Oh no.